Have you ever thought about where your produce comes from? Most grocery chains receive produce from various local and national farmers. In fact, there are about 3.4 million farmers in the United States today. But of that staggering number, only 45,000 are Black farmers. At the Better Buggy, we are a proud group of Atlanta-based Black-owned farmers, selling produce locally and nationwide. Our easy-to-navigate online platform makes it easy for you to make a one-time purchase or to simplify your life by subscribing to our weekly produce box. Whichever frequency you choose, you can order with confidence, knowing you'll receive 100% organic farm-fresh produce. If you're looking for a thoughtful gift for a loved one that they'd actually find useful, be sure to pop by our online store where you can snag a gift card your recipient can use to order their own produce and t-shirts. Ready to start supporting local Black-owned farms and making healthier food decisions? Visit thebetterbuggy.com now to start shopping.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to show you a video because there was a police shooting in my state this time in a location called Asbury Park. I know exactly where Asbury Park is. I knew a few people that lived there. And wow, you get sick of seeing these stories. You really, truly do. So this came out on the app.com, and it's an affiliate of USA Today. His name was Hasani Bess. Asbury Park confronts another police-involved shooting. So this is June 1st, 2021, and you're about to hear his mother speak.
I hate to see how they took him out of the office. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. They took my son's life, and he didn't deserve to leave here. He was talking. He was talking to them. He was talking to them and explaining his hurt, his feelings about how he felt, and about his son mother out there, how he didn't do anything. And she kept calling police. And they kept saying, yeah, we know you. We've been here several times. But this time, they didn't have to take my son's life. I looked at that. They didn't have to take his life. They was laughing and joking with him 1 minute, and then they shot him through the door, through the chest, and through it in his stomach, and just killed him. They just took his life. It was not justified at all. It wasn't justified. No, he didn't deserve that. He was he did it wrong, but we all do. But he was not a bad person. He was not. And plus, he was on the islands. He had a bad kidney liver, and he couldn't really move fast. He had a knife. Where was it? Where was the knife? Ain't nobody see no knife after they shot him, and he fell on that floor. Nobody said, "Where a knife?" Had no knife. But my son is gone. You know, this is my son. You know, this is my son. The 3 boys. This is Hasani. And this is Hasani across my back. This is all of him right here. Right there. That's him, each picture. And that police officer took my son's life. And he didn't have to. He didn't have to. He didn't have to. Honest to God, he didn't have to. And I don't have nothing else to say. I'm just.
All right. Now, the lawyer was standing off to the side. You might have seen him in there. Ladies and gentlemen, the actual shooting is online. It is in the story. I'm not going to play the shooting, but what I will do is I will post the link in the description. So if you want to view it, you can do that on your own, but I will not post it on here. So, a group of activists gathered in Asbury Park on May evening to share stories of Black people killed by the police and shouting out their names. Many of those lifted up are familiar to millions: Eric Gardner, Mike Brown, Rashard Brooks, George Floyd. The final name mentioned was far less well known: Hasani Best, who was shot and killed by Asbury Park Police Sergeant during a standoff last year, just blocks from where the group gathered outside of Asbury Park Post Office. The night of May 7th would have been his 40th birthday. Now, always be wary when they tell you about a story a year later, months later, sometimes several years later, you will see a video. You know, that's when they can't figure out how to make the cop look innocent. So they delay the whole thing before it's released. His name was Hassani Best, activist. Tavon Wilson, an organizer of the event, spoke over a bullhorn. Say his name. Hassani Best, the demonstrators responded. To activists in Asbury Park, the killing of Best, who was Black, coming weeks after cities and towns nationwide erupted in protest over the murder of Floyd in Minneapolis, showcase many of the same names in policing, but Best case also illustrated the limits of that momentum. While thousands marched through Asbury Park last summer to protest George Floyd's murder, more than 1,200 miles away, just a few dozen turned up weeks later for someone slain in their own community. Best killing did not galvanize a movement. There were no murals, there were no flowers covered, memorials, no police reform bills named in his memory at all. So nothing like that has happened. The officer who fired on Bess identified authorities, Sean DeShader, Sergeant Sean DeShader, that was his name, that killed him, was moved to administrative duty and remains on the force. An investigation by the state attorney's office stalled because of, the virus and the pandemic, but is expected to pick up steam as restrictions, of course, are lifting on grand jury meetings. Hassani Best is like thousands and thousands of other stories we've heard. Willis, the executive director of a nonprofit group, the Center for Black Excellence, said in an interview a few people gathered together, family, friends, activists gathered together to make some noise, but it never reached thousands of people. And these type of killings are happening across the country, thousands of them, like Hassani. So he just didn't get the notoriety that a lot of the shootings would get. So, ladies and gentlemen, the officer was claiming he had a knife. There was a knife, and they found no knife. It's the same song and dance over and over and over and over. Some activists widely acknowledge the circumstances of Beth's shooting have also made it more difficult to galvanize the community in support. The widely seen video of Floyd's murder depicting an unarmed Black man slowly dying under the knee of a white officer as he struggled to breathe and cry out for his mother. Boy, that was heartbreaking listening to that during the trial. Oh, man, that was hard. Okay, so The killing of Bess also reflected the murky circumstances more typical of police shootings, where decisions were made in fractions of a second, and officers often assert that they feared for their lives. Then you shouldn't be a cop. I'm sick and tired of hearing that. I am definitely sick and tired of hearing that. If you are that damn scared, don't be a cop. Get off of the force. There are many professions for you to get into. I'm sick of hearing that. For real. Oh, boy. Mm-mm-mm. The activists in Asbury Park are attempting to use Bess killing to force changes in the city police department. They are pressing for DeShader to be fired and the redirection of police funding towards social and mental health services. Activists touted progress in that effort last week, announcing the city agreed to add an additional 46,000 in municipal funding to support social work. Demonstrators have gathered outside the post office nearly every Friday to protest in Beth's name. They contend Beth's death, captured on police body camera video, could have been prevented with better police training. No, it's not the training, y'all. Y'all got to get off of that. It's not the training. Because when you see them with white, high IQ people, they don't act the same. They act in a whole different manner. It's not training. It's not training. Training has never been that issue. Training is not the issue. And our people got to stop saying that stuff because it's not true. And tactics focused on delivering mental health services in an individual in apparent crisis. Mm-mm-mm. So my heart goes out to his family. His mother, you can clearly see, is heartbroken over this whole thing. And I don't blame her at all. And I'm just sick of seeing this. It's just too many for us to turn away. You can't turn away from it. But I definitely don't want this story to blow up and then they get off on watching it on a 24-hour loop like they always do. You know, that's pleasure to them. And it's sick. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.